Hello. I must say I'm not a huge fan of simply reading something to you that I'm sure you can read on your own. However, this is a very important bit of information and I want to make sure it gets across to all kinds of learners. So, further instructions for play critique of a live performance. First of all, the format and instructions in your textbook is simply a guide. It's not something that you have to follow point by point. One thing to pay attention to, though, is the book says you must make a statement about the effectiveness of two production elements. Ignore that because I require you to cover all of the production elements on pages 24 and 25 in your textbook. Acting, directing, set design / scenic elements, lighting, and costumes. There are other production elements that you may cover, but you are required to cover those 5. Critiques without the proper title page, and I will give examples, will not be graded. Thoroughly read pages 22 through 25 before you attend a play, and then again before you write your critique. The critique must be at least 1,000 words. If it's not, it will not be graded. It will receive a 0. In almost all cases, when you attend a play, you will be given a program and a ticket stub. You must take a single photo of that program ticket stub with an ID. Your SCF ID is probably the best, and insert that into the critique. If it doesn't have that, it will be given a 0. Some theaters, like the Urbanite in downtown Sarasota, do not give programs. In such cases, you may take a selfie with something in the background that clearly indicates that you are at the production. Please take that selfie before, during intermission, or after the production, not during the production. And I should note that the Urbanite offers very inexpensive student tickets, and they tend to do very interesting and edgy material. So here are the examples. This is the end of somebody's critique of a show, and this is the photo they inserted into the document. And this is the end of somebody else's critique. This was a show at the Urbanite, and this is the selfie they took to indicate that they were there. If you don't know how to insert an image into a Word document, you need to learn how to do that. All shows that you can critique must be either college, professional, or community theater. No high school theater, no church theater. Only one musical is permitted. You don't need to contact me and ask if the show fits this criteria of being a full-length professional, community, or college theater production. But if it's not something you're sure about, contact me and ask if it's appropriate. When you contact me, please give me as much information about the show and the theater as possible, including a link to the production. Thanks. All critiques must be turned in within 2 weeks of seeing a play. If they're not, you will lose 10 points for every week that it's late. Over 2 weeks, you lose 10 points. Over 3 weeks, you lose 20 points, etc. If you see a play a few days before the due date for a critique, you don't have 2 weeks to turn it in. You have to turn it in by the due date. Critiques must be submitted electronically to the Canvas Dropbox. I will not accept any paper copies or emailed copies of any assignment in this class. Do not use source material. In other words, don't look up information onto Critque and use somebody else's ideas. I want them to be your ideas, and as all assignments must be turned in through Turnitin, I tend to catch people who break this rule. If you do, you'll get a 0. I won't read this to you, but this is the general breakdown of how the critique should be ordered. 30% of your critique should be this. The above should be 15 to 20%. The production element should be 500 words, which is 50%. Right? The biggest mistakes people make is writing too much about the storyline, the plot, and too little about production elements. Not writing 1,000 words, which gets a 0, or not having an opinion. So then I ask you to tell me what the goal of the play is. And the goal of a play is what the audience is supposed to learn or take away from a performance, not what the actors or the characters are supposed to do. Usually a goal is much deeper than the goal was to entertain the audience or the goal was to make the audience laugh. In some rare cases, that might be the goal. However, here are some examples. For Romeo and Juliet, the goal might be to make the audience think about the impact of two families' hatred on one another on their children. For Star Wars, the goal might be to show that good will conquer evil and do it in an edge-of-your-seat adventurous style. For Black Panther, the goal might be to show the audience that fear of the unknown is not a reason to hide behind your borders, and that open sharing of culture and advancement helps everyone.